Welcome
to
to
Winterfest.
Winterfest. Welcome to the 10th day of the 12 days of Winterfest. Hi, my name is Susan Palmer, and today we'll be speaking with another wonderful quilter, Vicki Wyant. And stay to the end, and you'll hear a really sweet story about her grandchildren. Please let me introduce another amazing Cama Beach quilter, Vicki Wyant.
Hi, everybody. And Susan, it's so nice to see you.
You too, you too. How did you find your quilt life?
My quilt life started for myself the year I got married, when I decided to make a king size quilt. That was 52 years ago, and it's not finished. So there you go.
Do you still have all the pieces?
I have all the pieces, and I still have the same husband. So, but basically how I really got started was with my mother. My husband and I retired in California, and we moved back up to Washington, and we decided to live on Camano Island, where my mother was living. My mother was a charter member of Camano Island Quilters, kind of was stopping her driving, so I was going to join anyway, but I got to take her to the meetings. My mother was a quilter. Both my sisters are quilters, so we kind of followed in her footsteps. So that's how I got started. This was on her 95th birthday, and she had made that quilt that year. It's a beautiful quilt.
I like how she fussy cut all the flowers.
Yep. It's beautiful.
You were telling me last night that you were interested in talking about paper piecing.
Yes, and I have some. This is what I am talking about, freezer paper. This happens to be Reynolds Kitchen freezer paper, plastic coated, that comes in a big container.
You can find that at any grocery store.
When you take it out, it has a shiny side and a dull side. You can put the shiny side down on fabric, iron it on with a hot iron, and it sticks. These two sides are on the grain, so they don't stretch. They're really stiff. This is on the bias, and if this paper wasn't on there, it would stretch. So and it happens, if you end up where you have to put especially two bias strips together, if you press on the freezer paper, it will now not stretch. It won't stretch. Here's another example of a bigger piece. So if you have two of them you're putting together, then they are going to just stay. They're not going to stretch at all.
Brilliant.
Another trick, this is a piece of fabric with a lot of quilters on it. And I thought it might be fun to fussy cut some of those quilters out to make a bag. So what I've done is I've cut off a corner of it, and I find the one I want, and I have made a little template, cut the circle out of the center that's going to be the size plus the seam allowance. Iron it on, so it makes a little window. I stuck the circle in the center, peeled this off, and now that's exactly where my little lady is. You can see her from the back there.
I get that. That makes sense.
But I don't have to draw around or anything. I can just stick this on, it'll stay there. And then I can try to save fabric.
Love that. Do you have any favorite quilt shops?
I live within walking distance of Over the Rainbow. And that can be a curse as well as a blessing, having it in that proximity. Because it's so easy to just walk over there. Not right now, but in the past it has been. And one of the things I like about that shop is the staff. I mean, I love the fabrics, but it's such a wonderful staff. They're so welcoming. It just makes my day when I go up to see them. One of my favorite quilt shops is in Smoky Point. It's run by a wonderful lady named Carol, and it's called Aunt Mary's. She offers wonderful classes. She's a delight. She's been in the quilting business and having a shop for a long time. If you haven't been there, it's a great place to check out.
Awesome. And how did you find the Cama Beach Quilters?
Pam Fredrickson and I were in charge of the programs for a couple of years in Camano Island Quilters. She mentioned it to me early on, and I don't know what was going on. It just didn't fit into my lifestyle at the time. But then I finally said, no, I'm going to go down. But that was a long time ago. I got in pretty early. So I've been doing it all along. I love it.
All right, well, let's bring up your first quilt here.
All right.
Bric-a-brac 1.
Bric-a-brac 1 used to be part of bric-a-brac. At the time I made this top, it was quite large. We got a message from Cama Beach that they were in need of twin size quilts. Well, this one was pretty easy because it had a seam coming straight down that I could just take and pull the two parts apart. So this became Bric-a-brac 1. Added some borders and got it to the right size. The fabric for this one came from Cama for the most part. The 2.5-inch strips that you see around the side and the small blocks, those batiks were part of a jelly roll. So I took that and then I supplemented it with some of my own fabric and more fabric from Cama to create this design. Some of these were from another Cama Beach quilter, Adeline Gildo. She saw the colors I was using and she came up with some wonderful pieces for me to include.
Adeline has the eye.
So this is the back for Bric-a-brac 1, and it was just fabric that I found at Cama, and I liked that combination, and there were big enough pieces that it was going to work, so that's what I put on the back.
Quilt number 535, Bric-a-brac 1 by Vicki Wyatt. All right, so this must be the other half of the twin.
Bric-a-brac 2, same thing, the other half, and found some borders. And I really like this, and I tend to not go towards the blues. And you know how you look in your stash and the colors that I have green everywhere, but I'm sort of weak on the blues. But I really like this. It really pulled me into blue, and I'm doing a lot more with blue since I started working with this one.
Bric-a-brac 2's back totally different.
Bric-a-brac 2, this was from my stash, and it just had the right greens, and I had it there at Cama Beach, and I was kind of trying to debate if people thought it would go. And some of my friends, Diane Dalton for one, really thought it was a great back for this particular quilt. So, and she's another one who's really good with color. So it's so nice how that group works together to help each other with those kinds of things.
Quilt number 539, Bric-a-brac 2 by Vicki Wyatt.
Yeah, everything's just been going well, sewing a lot. And I do grandma school with my kids in North Carolina. So my son made this grandma school for the quarantine.
That is so cute.
When they have finished with all their schoolwork for the day, then I meet with them. We go over anything they need to. But right now we're doing piano lessons. We're learning Christmas carols, and we're planning the Wyatt Christmas chorus that we're going to do. So that's what we're doing now.